Hiya! Welcome! This is Records Roundup number 81. Thank you very much for joining me today. Plenty to show you, as always. Unlike last time's, which was a Matt Berry special, there is a variety of artists here, as there tends to be for the majority of Records Roundups, if you've never joined me for one before. There is some Matt Berry to show you though. A single that came a little bit late for me to show it in episode number 80, but we'll get onto that in a few minutes. First of all, I'm going to show you a couple of CDs, both of which are from Sharon Corr. Now, of course, Sharon Corr, a member of The Corrs, the sibling band, who I've been a big fan of for many years, from Dundalk. I've got her most recent solo album, The Fool and the Scorpion, on vinyl, and I was kind of holding out, waiting to see if her earlier albums would get a vinyl issue, but I thought, you know what, the CDs are cheap enough. I'm not going to wait because they might never get a vinyl release. I'll get the CDs. So both of these are from Discogs. The first one, her first album, is Dream of You. This was £4. It's got like a handwritten price sticker on. That is the price I paid. It was a seller in Jersey, I think, on Discogs. So maybe someone who's got a little record shop in Jersey. But it's new and sealed, as you can probably see. The track I have heard on here, which I'll hopefully be playing you a clip of in a moment, is her cover of The Corgis' Everybody's Got to Learn Sometime, which is very pleasant, and I'm sure this album will be very good. I prefer The Corrs, the work they've done as a group. Andrea, as well, has also released some solo work. And there again, her most recent album, which was a Christmas one, did come out on vinyl, and I do have that. But I will aim to get Andrea's early albums on CD, hopefully by the next Records Roundup, because they're not expensive either, same as Sharon's. But this one is Sharon's debut, Dream of You.
Change your heart, look around you. Change your heart, it will astound you. I need your loving like the sunshine. Everybody's gotta learn sometime. Everybody's gotta learn.
And I've got a second album as well. This one is called The Same Sun. Nice digipack case this. Not heard anything on this. Looks like there's a Christmas song on it because the last track on the album is called Christmas Night. But I don't think it's a Christmassy album generally. Really love that cover art. Just something kind of appealing about it to me. But it's Sharon Corr. She's an appealing sort of lady. Can't say anything else about this. Once again, £4. Same seller in the Channel Islands, Jersey, I think. I'm looking forward to listening to these. If this and Dream of You ever do come out on vinyl, I'll no doubt double up. But I've got the CDs now. Moving on to the one 7-inch single to show you today, and as I mentioned earlier, it was the Matt Berry single that I was waiting for from a Discogs seller, but it didn't turn up in time for me to show it in Records Roundup 80. And it is this one. I think it might be his first 7-inch single, if not his debut single full stop. It's Badger's Wake. I really like this. I think it's meant to be a riff on the old Harvest Records company sleeve. It's got that sort of rustic autumnal brown colour to it. Just looks like something straight out of like a folk or prog label from the 70s, this. But it's on the Acid Jazz label, as the vast majority of Berry's work is. I think this was reasonably priced. Can't remember exactly how much, but I think it was £15 or maybe even a little bit under, including postage. There is one or two other Matt Berry singles that I'm trying to keep an eye out for, but I've got the majority of them. I'm not in any great rush to buy the last couple, especially as one of them a single I can't seem to find anywhere, and the other one, both tracks on the 7-inch that I've got on albums anyway, and is a little bit expensive, but I will maybe endeavour to add that to the collection sooner or later. But until then, Badger's Wake from Mr. Matt Berry. To the albums, still sticking with Discogs Marketplace here. These two were from an artist, female singer, who regular viewers will know I've been collecting a lot of over the last few months. I got these from an American seller. I wasn't originally intending to do, but her work, apart from the stuff that I've already bought, is now becoming increasingly difficult to get from a UK seller. And obviously, as soon as you go abroad, be it America or anywhere else, you're starting to pay increased postage and international fees. One of these albums, I think it's the second one from this artist, actually was being sold by a UK seller, but then I looked at this American seller, which I think is a record shop somewhere on the East Coast, I can't remember the location, and even with a bit extra postage and taxes, once I'd added 2 albums to the basket, it seemed better value to order from the States, as I couldn't get both of these from the UK, just one of them. So the first one is, of course, it's by Oasis, and it's A Place for Me. Similarly to the Sharon Core albums, I've not heard anything on these. I kind of know what I'm getting with Oprah now. All this sort of early to mid 80s stuff is her kind of almost folk type of work. You know, it's not my preferred era. I liked it when she had an international breakthrough and, you know, she was getting a bit dancey with Im Nimaloo, but I really love her voice, and I just like picking up these old Oasis albums really, just to listen to and then add into the collection. So that one is A Place for Me. And the other one from the American seller is a sequel of sorts, Shiri Moledat 2. Butchering the pronunciation, I know. I did get the first Shiri Moledat a few records roundups ago, or maybe a couple ago. Just a little look at the centre label there, it's black vinyl obviously. These tend to be, from the best of my research, kind of traditional Israeli old songs, Hebrew language stuff, maybe some religious stuff pertaining to Judaism, I suppose. Yep, looking forward to that as well. There's still other albums of hers. I've said I'm not in a great rush to get a full discography. I don't even know if I want a full discography because she's released children's albums, and a children's album in the Hebrew language is not something that I'm desperate for by any stretch. But Shiri Moledat 2 is the latest and hopefully not the last one to be added to the Oasis collection.
אשיר לך שיר עתיק נושן, אשיר לך זמר על שושן, היו לפני שנים, שני שושנים, היה זה כבר רחוק היום, אחד לבן שני אדום. חוכים.
Next up, a release. It's a reissue, this one. I got it from Juno Records. I think, including postage, it was a bit over £20. Juno are great, to be honest. You always seem to get your stuff within 1 or 2 days, even paying for the cheapest postage option. This one originally came out in 2000, but this is a fairly new reissue, and I was waiting for Juno to get it in stock. It is Noisemaker, Gigi D'Agostino, who is credited as Noisemaker, I'm not entirely sure, and Techno Fez. It's really more an EP or an extended EP than an album. But I've got Techno Fez 2, which weirdly got a reissue before this did. Thought I ought to add this so that there's, you know, the complete twosome, really. 4 tracks on side A, 3 on side B. I'm a big Gigi fan. I've heard, I think, most, if not all, of what's on here already. Some of it may be duplicated in other albums, but there's different remixes and stuff, so possibly not. I might not own any of these tracks, at least physically, until now. I'll only know for certain when I start listening to it. It's on black vinyl, so I won't get it open today. But that is Gigi D'Agostino's Techno Fez reissue. This next album I bought on a whim, but it seemed such a good value thing to get from Recycle Vinyl. Long-time followers of the channel will know that I buy a lot of 12-inch dance singles from Recycle, and I like to, rather than show them in records roundups or even videos where I'm just sat talking about records, with those, as the singles and the artists are quite often anonymous, or I've never particularly heard of them before, but I like the track. I like to show sections around 2 minutes or so of each of these singles that I've bought from Recycle, as I've been buying a lot of them in bundles of 4, 5, sometimes 6, I think. So please go back and look in my music unboxings and Miss VC playlist for those. But this was actually the first album that I'd bought from Recycle, and it's a various artists one, Techno State, and when I was looking at the track listing and the artists on here, I thought, you know what, there's some absolute bangers on this. Up on the site at £10, but at the time there was a 15% off discount code to be used, so I got this for £8.50. Black vinyl once again. I think it was kind of like one of those advertised on TV, sort of slightly low budget compilations that were quite ubiquitous in the 1990s, but this one has a lot of really good kind of early rave tracks from the early 90s. Just a selection of what's on here: Everybody in the Place by The Prodigy, Blue Pearl, Can You Feel the Passion, Bizarre Inc., Playing with Knives, Alternator on here, Utah Saints, Rosala, Are You Ready to Fly, Oceanic are on as well, and some stuff that I'm not familiar with, or stuff that I probably have heard but at least 30 odd years ago, and it'll be like a bit of a trip down memory lane, because I love this sort of stuff, this early rave kind of hardcore-y, little bit Euro as well in places. So this album, when I saw it really, and it was a tenner or £8.50 with the discount, I thought, you know what, I'm not a massive compilation collector, but this is one that I can't really leave, as it seems such a good value. So I can't wait to listen to various artists' Techno State.
Just dance and move your body.
Next up, it's another reissue from one of my very favourite bands, certainly of the last, I would say, year to 18 months. They announced this reissue late last year, so this has been pre-ordered for a little while, but it finally got pressed and in stock at the very end of January, or it might have been the very start of February, but either way, it is the second studio album from In Strict Confidence, Face the Fear. Now, I do already own this. Weirdly, I own a very similar looking reissue on cassette. It got a cassette reissue, I don't know how many years ago. The album itself is originally from, it says on screen, but it's late 90s, I think. And then it got a reissue on cassette with this new artwork, but not on vinyl. ISC, who I saw in concert back in November 2023, brilliant gig from one of my now very favourite groups. They re-released their first album, Cryogenics, on vinyl 6 months ago, maybe a little more. Bought that, passed the CD on to Martin Harris, who was a little bit unsure about it, but he listened to it and he gave it a fair hearing, and that's all I ever ask of anyone when I send them VCLT, really. I'll probably keep the cassette, to be honest. I'll double up, at least for now anyway. I may decide to pass the cassette on to someone if they really want it, but for now I'll have the cassette and the vinyl, even though I don't really double up as far as In Strict Confidence is concerned. So it's a 2 LP set, it's got additional tracks on that weren't on the original album, and I will get this one open because this one is patterned vinyl, I do believe. Just plain inners there, look polylined to me, and it's a marbled white. Probably can't see the marbling too well. What about if I put it right close up to the screen? I can see the marbling quite well. It's a nice effect, just a little bit more interesting than standard pure white, really. So I appreciate them for being a little bit more creative when it comes to white vinyl, as I suppose out of all the non-black vinyl variants, white is probably arguably the most dull, but this one with the marbling effect does seem rather nicer. Haven't heard this album since I listened to the cassette when I bought it well over a year ago, so looking forward to giving this a spin and appraising Face the Fear once again. The new reissue of Face the Fear from ISC, and hopefully more of their albums that never originally came out on vinyl, which is the vast majority of them, to be fair, will get reissued in due course. Next up is an album from a group who I'd never collected before. I've been kind of a casual fan when I've heard them around and about. I've got one of their tracks, a beautiful song called Sinead, digitally, which I've had for years. Always loved that song. And I've heard others of theirs just from sort of browsing YouTube. And then I heard about an album that they released, which was a covers album. And I looked at the track listing and I thought, they're covering that and that and that. How's this going to sound? So I started listening to some of the album on YouTube, and my God, it was amazing. I was like, I have to get this album. It originally came out, I think, around 2013. It's had a vinyl issue, I think it would have been last year, via Music on Vinyl. This is the Q Music Sessions by Within Temptation. Within Temptation, they're a Dutch symphonic and gothic metal band. Lead singer Sharon Den Aden, as well as being an absolutely beautiful woman. She's got such a great voice, and I've always liked her voice from the relative few tracks I've heard, but I can see her becoming one of my favourite female singers of all time, really. And just the way her and Within Temptation as a band themselves just managed to make some of these cover versions their own when you wouldn't think that they would work. I haven't listened to all the album, but the ones that particularly I thought sounded amazing were their cover of Don't You Worry Child, originally by Swedish House Mafia. I mean, a metal band covering a sort of progressive Euro house track, it shouldn't work, but somehow it does. They cover Frankie Goes to Hollywood's The Power of Love. Well, that's one of my favourite singles from the 80s as it is. And Within Temptation do an absolute superb job. Apologise, originally by One Republic, also a wonderful cover. And there's plenty more on here. They cover The Who, they cover Gnarls Barkley, who else? David Guetta. It shouldn't work, this album, but it does, and I think that's largely thanks to just that sort of bombastic, almost operatic sort of production and quality of Sharon Den Aden's voice. This is a numbered edition, numbered 247. I got this from the official Within Temptation web store, by the way, but that looks to be run by Music on Vinyl. I think they're essentially Within Temptation's official label for physical releases anyway. When I saw that this was out on vinyl and it wasn't available anywhere else that I could see except for at their web store, I had to get it. This one is a red vinyl one. I'm trying to decide whether to get it out and show you, depending on what else I've got left to show you. No, because I might be showing you something very similar soon, so I'll leave this sealed for now. I got a red one, also out on blue, and I think it was white or clear, I can't remember, but there was 3 different colour variants. So really, really delighted, and I can't wait to listen to this album in full. I really can't. The Q Music Sessions by Within Temptation.
I'm holding on your rope, got me 10 feet off the ground. I'm hearing what you say, but I just can't make a sound. You tell me that you need me, then you go and cut me down. But wait, you tell me that you're sorry, didn't think I'd turn around and say, hey, that it's too late to apologize. It's too late. I say it's too late to apologize. It's too late.
But how about we stick with Within Temptation, as I do a couple of mail openings to finish us off. Just getting these in the right order. These 2 packages came today, and this one here is from Revived Vinyl Records in Northwich in Cheshire. I have used those before a couple of times, not for over a year though, but I get regular marketing emails from them, and they've often got some sort of sale on. They seem to be big on stocking the Music on Vinyl reissues. When they announced that they had another Music on Vinyl sale, I had to take a look, and with me purchasing Within Temptation's Q Music Sessions, what I've heard on that I love, and I know there's other tracks of theirs, originals from their however long the career has gone for, since about 97. I think they started releasing singles on albums. I got 2 more Within Temptation albums, and the first one here is their debut album. This got a reissue a couple of years or so back, Enter. This one is limited to 1,500 copies, and it's on transparent red, so that's why I didn't show you the Q Music, because I think that one and this one will look pretty much identical. Just a 1-discer. My number edition is 508, and I'll get this out and show you, because we've not really looked at a lot of vinyl today apart from the ISC album. Of course, Music on Vinyl, they always have those rather flimsy protective sleeves. This one does have like a little booklet insert in. Try not to get everything out and then struggle with it. I think that's got lyrics by the look of it, yes. I don't know anything on this. It's a punt really, but they're a massively successful band, particularly in mainland Europe. You know, they're native Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, no doubt many other countries around the world, and they've got a following over here in the UK, certainly. Oh, that's really nice. So, did I say translucent red? That's like a marbled red, isn't it? Because it's red with kind of black marbling in it. Just double check the hype sticker on there. 1,500 copies on transparent red, solid white and black marbled vinyl, which sounds like 3 different sorts, but I think that's actually describing exactly what this is. So it's classed as red, black and white. Well, I can't see any white. Oh, I can see a tiny bit of white in it actually. I do mean a tiny bit. I mean, I'm filming this in the evening, totally artificial light here. So it's going to look better to my eyes when I play it in daytime, certainly. But it's not how it looks, it's how it sounds, which is quite appropriate really, given the next one I'll show you, because that came out in a range of different variants, but I decided to go for the vanilla one because it was such a good price from Revived. So that one is their debut, Enter, and we come right up to their most recent album, Bleed Out. So as I said, this one came out in various different formats, at least 2 or 3 colour variants, and also a 2-disc cut at 45 RPM, sort of ultra audiophile version, which was about double the price of this, even on Revived, who might have knocked a few quid off it, but it's just the album that I wanted. This is just the black vinyl version. Don't know what it says about it on the hype. Yeah, it's just calling this 180 gram audiophile vinyl, so it's black vinyl, and I don't think it's limited to a particular number of copies. But Enter, that was about £23, I think reduced from something like 27 or 28. And this one was about half price nearly, down to about 16 from almost 30, I think. Once again, not heard anything on here, but from what I've heard of Within Temptation, they're a band I think I can really start to get into. And now I've got not only the unusual but brilliant covers album, I've also got their very first studio album, their very last one. So that says to me that there's some holes to be filled in. So I'm going to listen to these first before I really sort of dive in deeply with Within Temptation. But I think it's more than likely that I'll be getting more, and they've got, I think, nearly their entire catalogue at their web store for fairly reasonable prices, to be honest, considering they're coming from the Netherlands. And also there's more stuff that's on a bit of a discount at Revived, and I think 1 or 2 other sites. So here starts my Within Temptation journey, Bleed Out. Alright, last couple of albums to show you from a website I'd never used before. They get recommended to me every so often, and they had a 10% off everything in stock sale, as they tend to do from time to time. So I thought, you know what, I'll see what they've got this time around, and maybe if there's anything that I fancy, I'll take a punt. So I did. Experience Records are based in Bingham, which is quite near Nottingham, so not too far away from yours truly. I know one of these is like an original pressing from the 80s. It wasn't a lot of money, and it's second hand obviously, but I think the condition was supposed to be very good plus. And the other one, I can't remember if that was classed as brand new or not, to be honest. One of them's been separated out into different protectors, I think. Sent me a sticker, that's nice, with the company logo. Also here is the invoice. The total for this, which included a bit in postage, £3.95, was £32.75, but there was 10% off both of these albums. One of them was £7, I think I'll show you that one first, and the other one was £25, but with a discount it would have been £22.50 and £6.30. And the first one is the first album from Big Country, The Crossing. Now, I've always liked Big Country, I've just never collected them. I thought about maybe plumping for a greatest hits at some point. I know their studio albums have been reissued in relatively recent years, so I've thought about getting like a newer copy of this, and I do prefer reissues really, but just at the price, it being not much over £6, I thought, you know what, as I'm not intending on collecting them, I just want this because there's 2 singles on it that I absolutely love. I'll get the cheaper original pressing. So they put it in an anti-static bag, but it also looks to come with its original inner. Yep, original paper inner there with lyrics and stuff. And there's the sleeve itself, of course. Weirdly, it says contents there, which is a bit of an unusual kind of subheading on an album, really. In a Big Country and Fields on Fire, they're the 2 amazing singles from Big Country that I know. Anything else on there that I've heard? I feel like I know Chance, I think that was a single, maybe Harvest Home as well. They've just got that really kind of Celtic rock sound to them. I don't know if it was a production trick really, probably not, because I know they were a big touring band in the day, but they were able to make guitars sound a bit like bagpipes, and you know me, I'm a mark for bagpipes, so why wouldn't I eventually add some Big Country to my collection? And really, if there was one album of theirs that I wanted to own, it would be this one, simply because of the 2 singles that I have 2 of my very favourites from the 1980s. Big Country, The Crossing. Really nice texture to this sleeve as well. It does feel like a kind of hardback book.
I've never seen you look like this without a reason. Another promise falling through another season passes by you. I never took the smile away from anybody's face, and that's a desperate way to look for someone who is still a child in a big country dream. Stay with you like a lover's voice parts the mountainside. Stay alive. I thought that pain and truth are things that really matter, but you can't stay here with every single one you have shattered.
And the final album I already own on CD, or to be more precise, it's actually a CD and DVD edition. I'm just getting these discs out because they've been put in a separate protective bag really, and there is 3 of them, so I thought for a triple album I will double up here, because I'm slowly doubling up on this band when they reissue their studio albums in nice formats, and I'm talking about Oasis. This is the vinyl version of Nebworth 1996. Everything's all separate here. I don't think this is brand new. I mean, it's certainly not brand new and sealed. Nearly new is what I'd consider it. There's your 3 inners there. It is just standard black vinyl, but a relatively recent release from Oasis. This only came out, I think, 2021. I've got the CD set that also has the documentary on DVD. Great documentary, great live album, so good to get this on vinyl. I'll quickly show you the vinyl here, as the centre labels are all rather pleasant and differently coloured. I need to check that I'm putting these back in the right order when I sort these out after I've finished, as I want to listen to it in order. Not that it would really matter, but it just annoy me if I didn't. Well, there we go. That was, I'll just give you one last butchers at the sleeve. Oasis Nebworth 96 triple LP for £22.50. It wasn't really going anywhere near as cheap as that anywhere else, so Experience Records, I thought that was a good one, that and the Big Country album, to give them a go, and it looks like they've done a very good job in sending those out nice and secure. thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed Records Roundup number 81 today. I want to say special thank you, as always, to my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. I'm going to go now. Need to sort out these Oasis records, put them in their original inner sleeves, although I will keep these anti-static bags as well. Very good of experience to provide those at no extra cost. And of course start listening to some of this great music from a wide range of artists. And I do hope that all of you will join me again next time for Records Roundup number 82 and my next music and record collecting video. Cheers everyone. See ya!